let me just start the recording so everyone can have the audio and video file of this press conference. Thank you so much for jumping on the call. Alistair Dobson, General Manager, Big Bash Leagues, include obviously BBL, Men's and the Women's Big Bash League. He's along with us and he's happy to take any of the question. We'll start with Dobson, if you want to say something to the media, and then we'll start the question answer session.
Yeah, no worries. And well, firstly, thanks for the opportunity. Great to meet everyone. What I'd say is thanks to everyone for their support of the game, whether it's in Australia or around the world. It's pretty exciting time for cricket. We've had, from a Big Bash perspective, a couple of really promising and encouraging seasons. Obviously, last year, both in the BBL and WBBL, we saw great growth in our competitions after a couple of challenging seasons. 50+% growth in crowds at the WBBL and 25% growth in average crowds in the BBL, and obviously lots of sentiment and positivity, and it's great to see families and kids and fans back in the crowds at the Big Bash. So that sets us up really, really well for what's shaping up as a massive summer. Obviously, the Border Gavaskar Trophy and the Women's Ashes provide a great backdrop for the WBBL and BBL seasons. We're into the 10th season of the WBBL and BBL 14 shaping up really well. And I think that's all interesting in the context of an incredibly successful domestic league here in Australia, and obviously still competing hard around the world, but in a pretty interesting time for the global game and the players around the world, which I'm sure we'll talk about on this call. So we've got our overseas player draft coming up as our next big milestone, and that's shaping up as well, and shaping up well as well. So really big summer ahead. We're confident that the momentum will continue, and put both our leagues in really great shape for the years ahead. So happy to cover any ground you like, take any questions, and hopefully we can have a good chat. Over to you, Rumi, if you wanted to sort of moderate that discussion.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dabo. I would like to request everyone to keep their mic mute, and if they have any question, just drop that on the chat room or just raise your hand, so I'll give the question. Thank you so much. Let's start with Rashesh from Hindustan Times.
Hi, Alistair.
Hi.
Good to chat with you. I'd just like to ask, considering the sort of changing landscape in league cricket and the congestion that we see, has it become more challenging to acquire marquee overseas signings, and how have you dealt with it?
Yeah, I think what we do know is in our discussions with players and agents around the world, which we're in regular contact with all of them, that the BBL is still a destination of choice. It's still on every player's bucket list to come and play in the BBL in their career. And I think the crowds we have and the venues we play in and the conditions that players play in continue to put us in really good shape. We had really solid increase in the salary cap in both our leagues in the last MOU 12 months ago. So all those things put us in really good shape. We've made some changes to our contracting rules, which allow some pre-signings outside the draft. So we feel like we're in good shape. That said, it is an interesting time. There's lots of cricket going on around the world, and players are rightly being rewarded for what they do for the game and the fans they bring in and the entertainment they provide. So we still feel like we're in good shape with that even though the competitive nature of the global market is growing every year. And we've seen the players that have already been announced signed with our BBL clubs, and some to come suggest we're still a really popular destination.
Quick second question. We saw a couple of Indian commentators, Ravi, Shastri, Harsha, Bhogle, in the broadcast last year. What was the idea like, or just to catch the attention of the Indian audience? Does it work that way? Was it a broadcaster's call, the league's call?
Yeah, broadcasters are responsible for the people they bring in to commentary. That said, it was amazing to have those guys commentating the BBL. They bring such expertise and interest to our game, and they, from all reports, they really loved what they saw, and we're hoping to see a few global commentators out here again this summer, and obviously with a big international summer ahead, we hope that's the case. But it's great to get different perspectives and different views on our competition, and sounded like they really enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Thank you. Sabya Sachi from India Today.
Hi, Alistair. Am I audible?
Yes, no, gotcha, loud and clear.
Okay. So Alistair, the WBBL is mostly known for bringing in changes and innovating as far as rules are concerned. So, can we expect any interesting new rules in the upcoming edition as well?
Nothing major this year. We've obviously had a few interesting innovations over the past few years, like the power surge and some other rules. I think we're still have a very innovative mindset and looking at ways we can continue to improve and grow the game. I think from our perspective, the really key thing we're looking at this year and beyond is the speed of the game and the pace of play. And I think while we don't have anything specifically coming in this season, we are looking very closely at ways we can continue to innovate in the game to speed it up and make sure our games finish in a time that it works for kids and families over summer. We see the trend in all forms of cricket that the games are going longer than perhaps they have and perhaps we would like. And given our core audience is kids and families and fans of the game, that we want to make sure the games are continuing to click over at a good pace. So there's some things we're looking at, not for this season, but stay tuned.
Thank you, Alistair.
Thanks. Chinmay Mehta, Desi Australia, and then Niharika Raina.
Hi, Alistair. How are you? Chinmay Mehta here.
Hello.
Yeah, I was in India a couple of years back, and I was so surprised that number of people in India, they do follow Big Bash and like Sydney Thunders and a couple of the teams. And I was so surprised to see that they even were up to date with the matches and numbers and stats, and they were taking me back to like few years, and I didn't have a clue. So I was so impressed. I had something to give away, like T-shirt and pens, and then it was probably the like best gift they ever had. So my question is, do you have any suggestion or do we have any plans, like how can we engage people from overseas, especially like subcontinent and all, because how they see the game, I don't know how they see it, but they do remember the balls, the match results forever, like the innings, and like how they see it, it's so different. I thought, like what can we do to engage them more?
Yeah, we great question. We had a significant increase in our audiences globally this year, particularly in India, off the back of our new media rights deal into India, which has shown a significant uplift. So we know the interest is there, and everything we hear from our broadcaster in India suggests that 100% agree with what you've said, that the fans there love the game and connect. I think we're fortunate in the WBBL that we've had some really great Indian players come and hopefully again this year, and that's again proven that we've demonstrated the interest that's there. I think it's also why this summer provides such a great opportunity off the back of what's going to be a pretty historic test series with 5 tests against India in Australia. I think that interest and not only within the test series but cricket in general in Australia from that community is going to be big, and we really hope they can engage in the BBL at the same time. But we're always open to ideas. Any way we can continue to grow our audiences around the world is big for us, and feels like we're heading in the right track.
Thanks, Niharika.
Hi, Alistair. Hope you're doing
Hello.
great.
Thank you.
I want to start off by asking you that what has been the feedback from the various stakeholders? Because last time the WBBL and the BBL had reduced seasons, the cut short by a few games. So what has been the feedback from various stakeholders about this revamped version of the schedules last time?
Yeah, we obviously had one season of a reduced BBL down to 40 games, and I think just about every one of our metrics showed that was the right decision. We had significant increase in average attendances, and TV audiences were up at the same time. But I think equally the players really responded. They enjoyed it. They love playing and less travel perhaps and more playing. And I think the cricket and the fans responded, and the sentiment's really high. So that proved itself in 1 year in the BBL. We're going into a WBBL season that's been reduced back to the same length for the first time, and I think we've already seen from the schedule and from our players that they're looking forward to a quality over quantity approach where every game means a bit more. Every game should be that much better and more competitive and great events. So the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive, and it proved itself in the BBL, and we're confident the same thing will happen in the WBBL this year.
A quick second question from me. At the end of the summer, Nicola Hockley will be stepping down as the CEO of Cricket Australia. So just want to know that how has been your relationship with Nick, and how it has, propelled the Australian cricket to go better, and what are your thoughts on him leaving the role as well?
Nick's been an incredible supporter of the Big Bash from the moment he stepped into the role. He's, whether that's the recent MOU with our players that saw such an increase in salary cap that Nick drove, and obviously a great relationships now with our broadcasters, and really a really strong media rights deal that Nick led that sees so much of the Big Bash, whether it's men's or women's, on TV every night over the summer, and such a great footprint. So he's been, and he loves big crowds, big events, and the Big Bash provides that right throughout the summer. So his fingerprints and legacy in the Big Bash will be, will be here for a long time to come, and we can't wait to have another big summer. And when he finishes up, he'll look back and hopefully see a really strong and vibrant men's and women's Big Bash that he was a part of.
Thanks, Niharika. I'll ask the question on behalf of Suhail Imran, who is here, but his mic is not working. So Suhail Imran is from Pakistan. He has a question. Would you like to shed a light on the inclusion of South Asian players playing in the BBL, especially Pakistan players? If yes, would you like to share some of the important registrations for this summer for BBL and WBBL from South Asian region?
Well, your first question is an easy one. They've been an incredible part of the BBL, and I think no more so example than Harris Ralph and the cult following that he quickly has built in Australia and with the Melbourne Stars, and we would love to see him back this year. And I think that we obviously had most of our clubs at different times have had players from that part of the world, and they add such interest and skill and engagement with the fans that they've been a huge part of it, and will be again, and increasingly on the WBBL side as well. In terms of this year's draft, we've got that coming up in a couple of weeks. We've had great nominations. We're not quite in a position to give any sneak peeks on names, but certainly shaping up really well. And I know our clubs are looking really closely at how they build their lists and bring diverse skills and roles from around the world. So it's a big part of the Big Bash for sure.
Thanks. Maria from Indian Sun, and then Umesh from Cricket Tracker.
Hi, Alistair. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you.
Okay. Given the strong performance of players in competitions like the Ranji Trophy, is BBL considering sourcing talent from these leagues to enhance the diversity and skill level within the teams? Or what are the other ways BBL can source players from India?
Yeah, I think it's a well-spoken and discussed element that at the moment Indian players aren't available on the men's side in the BBL, and that's always been the case around the world. And clearly, we'd love to have players from every part of the world coming into the BBL and adding to our competition. We're very fortunate in the WBBL that Indian players have, whether that's Harmanpreet Kaur for the Renegades or others that have been in our competition and add such skill and capability and leadership. So we're always working closely with other boards around the world about how we can grow our competition and make it as accessible as possible, and that won't stop.
Okay, thank you. And my second question is about what's the presence of locally born South Asian talent in WBBL this year?
In the WBBL particularly, or in both competitions?
Yeah, this league, both WBBL or BBL.
Well, I might have to come back to you on that one. I'll need to have a quick look at the latest contract lists we have. We get them updated every day. I'm sure Ibrahim or Matt can follow up on that, but with some specific names, if that's okay.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll definitely share with you, Maria. Yeah, Umesh, you can ask the question.
Hello, am I audible, Alistair?
Hello.
So my question is that BBL, IPL has been a very big structure and a big example to set in the cricketing fraternity. So does BBL and WBBL have any idea in terms of investment, or like the like money thing to invest more to compete with the presence of IPL in the cricketing circle?
Yeah, a really important role of the Big Bash is to not only bring new fans into the game and connect our players and fans, but also to drive revenue and commercial outcomes that supports other part of the game. The BBL's been incredibly successful at that over the past 14 or 15 years, and underpins a lot of investment into various parts of the game. I think the question around investment models and different financial models is one that continues to sort of bubble away. That said, our competition's incredibly strong, and we feel like the way it is now is the right mix for Australian cricket, with our teams being sort of owned and run by our state associations, gives great connection back into the community and drives great returns for our game. So that's the right model for us right now. That said, it's obviously a competitive market for players, and we shouldn't have our eyes closed to opportunities that might come up.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Neeraj or Shaurya, that if you have any question, we shall let us know. Otherwise, we'll wrap it out.
No, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Great to meet you. Hopefully, we'll see you over the summer.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Alistair. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks, everyone, again. We'll share the audio and video files of the Zoom session with all of you. Thanks.
Thanks
Thank
all.
you, Ibrahim. Thank you, Alistair. Bye-bye.
All right, see you soon. Cheers.